Hello. I'm going to talk to you today about the progressive and perfect forms of verbs. Writers have used these verb forms to express more complicated situations of time than other verb forms which you may have been reading about elsewhere in this module can express. The progressive form describes an action that is continuing in the mind of the person using the verb, who for the purposes of this lecture we will call the speaker. And the perfect form describes an action that has reached completion in the mind of the speaker. To see how this works, let's take a look at the difference in meaning in these three statements. I waited all day, I was waiting all day, and I had waited all day. These three statements give examples of the three kinds of verb forms that I want to look at in this lecture. They each describe an event, but they describe the event in different ways to express different relations between that event and other possible events in time. Let me try to explain what I'm talking about. The first statement uses the simple past form of the verb wait. It uses this form to describe an event that happened at a particular time, such as yesterday or last February, and that event is now over. The speaker is discussing that event from sometime in the future to talk about that simple past. The second statement uses the progressive past form of the same verb to describe an action that in the speaker's mind is still happening. Notice the difference between these two forms of the verb. Whereas simple past simply ends the base form of the verb wait with the ed combination of letters at the end, the progressive past adds ing at the end of the base verb and also a form of the verb is. This indicates that the action, even when it's in the past tense, as this one is still somehow happening currently in the speaker's mind. Often, it is happening at the same time as some other event that the speaker wants to discuss. And so the progressive form is useful to discuss two events that are going on at the same time. Finally, the third statement uses the perfect past form by returning the ed to the end of the base form, but adding instead of a form of is, a form of have to the beginning of the verb. This indicates that an action that the speaker is discussing has completed itself in the speaker's mind. It differs from the simple past tense in that the action in the speaker's mind is often in relation to another event that happened after the event with the perfect form. For example, I could say, I had waited all day until the soda shop opened. The waiting and the soda shop opening are two events in time that happened in relation to each other, and so I've used the perfect past form in this case. I hope that this brief explanation will help you see how you can use progressive and perfect verbs in your own writing to express more complicated and indeed realistic relationships of events in time and of those events to you as you're explaining them in your present. I know this sounds a little bit confusing, but as you practice with them, I believe that you'll begin to see how these progressive and perfect verbs can help your reader understand more accurately what you're trying to say. And as always, thank you for your time and attention.